Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote. This is a weekly show where we introduce you to creators from all over the world and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I'm your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who takes the word collector/collecting to a whole different level, and he also just happens to be a cosplayer extraordinaire. Please welcome Demetrius is here. What's up, my man? How are you?
I'm all right. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Great to have you here on this program of And I Quote. Do not forget to like and share this with everyone you know, for those of you who are watching or listening to us right now. And if you are watching this live or on the replay, we appreciate you so much. If you have any questions for our guest, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. More than happy to take them as they come in respectively. But in the meantime, Demetrius, how were you introduced to the world of comics?
Oh, my mom wanted to make sure that I read as well as I could when I was okay. So my I live in Maryland. I was born in Portugal, but my parents are military. So we got stationed in Maryland, but my parents are originally from Florida. So back in the 80s, there was this thing some of you kids will know about called Herbalife. And my parents were a part of that entire thing where they were selling those new, supplements, and off of Herbalife money, they were able to flip that into real estate money, and they bought property in Florida, which is actually in an area that's right across the street from where my dad grew up. And my parents had the vision of basically creating a neighborhood of reasonably priced housing, and they bought several homes to put on a street that my parents bought. And back in 91, and it was 1990, 1991, we would go up and down the 95 corridor to build that place up. And while on the road on that 12 to 14 hour long trip, we would stop at thrift stores or flea markets, and my mom would see various Marvel What If comics that she would just see. That's like, oh, well, as long as he's reading, I don't care what it is, because he's reading. And I was like, 6 at the time. So instead of just reading just the billboards, to help me get more proficient, my mom would buy me comics.
That's a heck of a way to be introduced. Make sure he's reading something. I don't know what it is, but just
something.
Read this material over here to the left-hand side of the table. I don't know. I don't care. It's one of those choices, right?
Yeah.
No, that's cool stuff. So do you have any favorite comic book writers or artists that stand out to you?
Well, I didn't. Well, Todd McFarlane created Spawn, and that is, I have a nice Spawn shrine here, and that was the one character that I gravitated towards in 96 to 97 when I first got introduced to him after I had read Faust in, I think it was the 6th grade, and the story was just mirrored one another, and it was just in a comic book form. And when the movie came out, completely enamored by it. Black Heroes Matter, that whole deal, that whole representation thing really got to me. And that is the one character that I've got tattooed on my body for with various things is Spawn. I just had that one complete theme. And I got this giant battle axe, which is agony, which is what Spawn's cape turns into when he uses it. So there's that connection there. So I don't have a favorite comic book writer, but just the character creation, Todd McFarlane.
Oh, I can dig it. What did you think of the movie that came out not too long after that called Blade with Wesley? What did you think of that one?
That was that was dope. That was like a seminal moment in movie history, especially when those of us who have been paying attention to genre
Right.
shows
Mhm.
ever since they started, because I was watching Mantis and Hercules and Nightman and like Babylon 5, like anything that I could get my hands on to, when I was like when they were actually doing something original in Hollywood. That's what I was like in consuming. So when Blade was a blockbuster for what it was, for the amount of money that it brought in, come on, you couldn't help but think that was dope.
I mean, it was a great intro scene, right? In the blood rave scene. I mean, my gosh. I
But see, that's the entire lore
Mhm.
behind it. Like I'm the guy that enjoys a really good story, like a really good background as to why a character is the way that he or she is.
Yeah.
So that's why, no matter how much more action they put in Blade 2 or how much more gore they put into it all or whatever, the first Blade will always stand out to me because the lore of the Daywalker is something that cannot really be touched. You know what I mean? Like that is something that is iconic into itself. Like the fear. It's among the same kind of fear that the Decepticons have of Optimus Prime, at least in the first movie. When
Yeah.
they first see that glimmer of that red truck, they're like, oh shit, it's Prime. And then when he transforms
Oh,
the
yeah.
rocket, like that was a moment. So you know what I mean? So that's what I mean.
Mhm.
That's lore right there.
Mhm. No, I completely, dig it, and I respect that too, as far as, stories are made and built and put together and all that kinda jazz. So I totally get it, and yeah, Optimus is one of my favorite characters too. I mean, his speeches in those even if the movie's a piece of garbage, we're looking at you, Michael Bay. There's some good speeches by that dude, and Peter
Yeah.
Cullen's been voicing that character for over 40 years, which is ridiculous. So my hats off to Peter Cullen and everyone else involved, because a lot of the original voice actors are still doing it. So
Mhm.
my hats are off to that crew over there. There's no doubt about it, which reminds me, I need to get myself an Optimus Prime T-shirt so I can go with my other fandom shirts.
Mm.
I don't have enough, but apparently I have too many, but I still feel like it's not enough. So I don't know. I don't know how you feel about wardrobe changes, but hey, it happens to the best of us. What would you say are outside of Spawn and outside of Blade? Because you mentioned we've mentioned those already. What are some of your favorite comic based movies or TV series, past or present?
Comic book. Okay, so guilty pleasure is Masters of the Universe from
There you go. Are we
Eh,
talking Masters of the Universe Dolph Lundgren?
yes, yes.
Okay. I actually
There.
saw that movie not too long ago for the first time, and actually I liked it for what it
Yeah,
was. I liked
see,
it.
exactly. If for what it was, for the time that it was in, you can't help but to say, like, it was 80s camp, but there was something that Frank Langella brought to it that had like that kind of gravitas. Same way I would say Raul Julia as Bison in
Oh,
Street Fighter.
freaking love that movie. I love
You know
that
what I mean?
movie.
So it's like the villains kind of make the movie to the point where when I was thinking, I was, well, let me try to be an actor. Let me do a monologue, and I did the Skeletor monologue as to like him, you know becoming God Skeletor. Like that was in my mind. So, but yeah, something like that. That's what hits me. Let's see. So there's Masters Universe. The original cut of Dune. You know,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
3 to 4 hour cut.
Oh,
That's
I see. Yeah.
um I'm telling you how old I
It
am.
listen, man,
Uh,
age is just a number. It doesn't matter. Like, I didn't watch Masters of the Universe till years later, and I still enjoyed it.
right, right.
So it's
Fair
like
enough.
it's and I grew up watching, what is it, Street Fighter, because I grew up in the '90s, so I got no
Mm.
shame, man. I love Street
Uh
Fighter. People throw that movie under a bus, but I don't care. I freaking love it.
yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. It sold toys and made people more interested in the video game. That's all that
And
was supposed
and
to
I
do.
and I played a lot of Street Fighter 2 on my Genesis, so I have no regrets.
So you were a Genesis kid and a Super Nintendo kid?
I was a Gen I mean, I played some SNES, with all due respect to the game systems that came before us. I respect it, I really do, but I was more of a Genesis, fan than an SNES. But then again, years later, I've come to respect even more so SNES games, because I gotta be honest with you, some of the graphics on SNES are better than Genesis. So, you know.
There was no dispute in that, but what I find is when people have fond memories of the Genesis as opposed to the SNES, you have more people who have more single player experiences with the Genesis than they did the SNES. So
Yeah.
you hear more about Mario Kart, you hear more about Street Fighter about on
Yeah.
SNES, and
Mhm.
on Genesis you hear more about Sonic
Sonic.
or Moonwalker
Mortal
or
Kombat.
well yeah,
I mean, Mortal Kombat was
ABBA.
multiplayer, but at the same time, that was dope. You gotta
Right.
agree.
Yeah, the ABBA CABB, the blood code. Just can't remember, can't forget that.
Get over here. Yeah. Mhm. I
But
remember it.
yeah,
Yeah, it was fond memories, man. I mean, listen, when I got angry at my classmates or something went down, I'm like, we're playing Mortal Kombat to get out this aggression.
yeah.
It's going down. Like it's gonna go down, whether it's a fatality or a flawless victory. Which by the way, the MK movie from '95 is still pure gold.
I don't have see. Yeah, I
It
don't know
is.
anybody because for some reason people say that that's not one of the better video game movies. I'm thinking, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it's
Like
so good.
that was the only one that actually broke through and did something as opposed to not fail like Super Mario
Yeah.
Brothers. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Or Resident Evil. Even though they made so many Resident Evil movies, those movies were terrible.
6 of them actually. Well, from the original, and then they rebooted it with Welcome to Raccoon City recently.
Terrible. Terrible.
Oh, I haven't seen the Raccoon City one. I've only seen the original 6 with Mila Jovovich, so
Yeah.
can't say anything about the new one.
I don't know. But then I'm not even into survival horror games like that. So
Oh, that's okay.
I just know that it was just a bad movie. They were
Mhm,
bad
mhm,
movies. They were not
mhm.
they weren't even fun to watch.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, and then I guess the other top comic book movies that
Yeah.
really stick out is the first and the second TMNTs. Yeah.
Dude, the OG turns 35 next year.
Shit.
I kid you not. And by the way, let me tell you, for those of you tuning in and just joining us here on And I Quote, we are going to be doing a movie watch along for that in 2025. We have it on the schedule. It's going down like nobody's business. Oh, a fellow checker, eh? Keep practicing. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
freaking! I've watched that. I cannot tell you how many times I watched that OG 1990 and 1991's TMNT Secret of the Use on VHS so many times.
And then it eventually came to HBO, and that was just on all the time. But no, like I remember the promotional ads for for the Turtles, whether it's from Burger King or even I still have we went. My dad actually took me to the concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember going to the concert in the
Wow.
US Air Arena here in DC. So yeah, there's really good memories there.
Good picks, man. Man, we got to have you on these shows more often and talk some TMNT and MK or something. Honestly,
Yeah.
we need to bring you back on here for certain elements of programming here on And I Quote. And once again, this is And I Quote with Demetrius, aka Hellspawn_cosplay on Instagram. If you're watching us live or on the replay, thank you so much for doing so. And if you like what you see here, like and share with your best friends. And if you have any questions for him, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to take those, as they come in respectively. But what made you decide to become a cosplayer?
I got a divorce. Yeah,
Sorry about that, by the way.
I mean, things like that happen when they're supposed to. What can you say? I'm a former bodybuilder, and the competition, thing that I was doing with my ex-wife, it requires a certain type of support system. And when you're going through it and then you have like a hard shift in your support system where you no longer have a partner or someone like that helps you, like stay accountable, it becomes a really difficult thing to maintain. And then with all the different memories that we had together, and it just seemed like it was no longer something that I wanted to do because it wasn't something I did for myself, it was something I did for her. I wanted to shift. And since I had been collecting all of this, whether it be just like just this memorabilia or just props and stuff, because I thought it was cool. I already had a couple of Blades of Chaos, and so my first cosplay was Kratos, and I was already like 3 weeks out from a competition, so I was already shredded to a point where you could see the abs. I was already kind of dry, and just getting body painted and having the right stuff. And then I went to Awesome Con for the first time in cosplay. I had gone before just as just a regular con goer, but I that was the first time I went as a cosplayer, and from that point on, it was kind of like an immersive induction into the community, which I didn't even know existed. People were like, you did that so good. I'm like, well, is there like a competition? Of course, there's cosplay competitions, and then I had a completely different mentality as to what a competition looked like, and I had to be taught that it was not something that you antagonize people for or with, and because I'm kind of like, I've always been a nerd, but I've always been a jock at the same time. So talking
Oh,
crap,
I see.
and having like
Yeah.
that Spartan mentality of like,
Both sides of the fence.
right, and it just, some things just do not work well within a larger community space, and one that has been the subject of a lot of trauma, whether it be from high school or whether it be just from childhood, or whether people just like experience a lot of online bullying to this day, even as adults, just because of their race or just because of their size or just because they look different than the actual
Or their
cosplay that they're doing,
disability.
or
Yeah.
the disability, exactly.
Yeah.
So there was a learning curve for sure for me to come into this community and understand what this community is, and through that understanding I ended up loving it more, for what it represented and how it became an escape for so many people. So yeah, like that was my induction. It took a little while, but I got there.
No, I got you. And I've been to Awesome Con numerous times in our nation's capital of DC. And it's a lot of fun. I've met some of the biggest names in the business out there. I've made a lot of connections out there. And networking is very important too. So
Yeah.
networking is a lot of fun at Awesome Con. Shout out to all our good friends who table there each year, who do attempt to get tables there each year. Fantastic. We love you guys. Please visit Artist Alley and Writers Alley. Check them out. They're great people over there. Trust me. What are some of the rewards for you of being a cosplayer?
Well, right now the best thing about being a cosplayer is knowing how I can connect with my son on this level, whereas yeah, I have all these toys. I've got toys, so many toys in a bin that I don't need to really buy any toys because they're all brand new for him as a 5-year-old. But you know, as a cosplayer, being able to allow for him to be a character he wants to be, like he was the one who said he wanted to be Luffy. And I'm not sure when he was able to really truly pay attention to One Piece, except for I was watching One Piece for the first time from episode 1 to episode 952 while we were in the middle of the pandemic, and he was an infant. So I don't know if something stuck while it took those 8 months for me to catch up before when we got into Wano, but yeah, like he says he wants to be something, and I'm able to make it happen. And we can talk about the character and where they come from and what they do and the poses and all this other stuff. Like it's like I've been taking pictures with him in cosplay since he was 4 months old. So now it's just a part of his DNA. So it's just been great.
And that's passing the torch on to the next generation of fans out there. That's what we should be doing
Yeah.
as fans in general, or as parents. For those of you who are parents, I'm not a parent personally, but I do know a lot of my friends are. And hey, my hats are off to all of you parents out there. Whether you're co-parenting your mom and dad or you're a single parent, my hats are off to you because it is not an easy thing to do.
No.
Flip side of the coin, though, what are some of the biggest challenges about being a cosplayer?
Dealing with the people who feel like they have a place to say anything about your cosplay or your art. Um you may have your own interpretation, your own spin on something. What's crazy to me is that we now live in an era where, let's just say Mortal Kombat, for example, you're able to interchange and create different designs for each of your characters, right? However you want to customize them, but they're still that character. Now, let's say you decide that you want to add something, an element that someone has never seen before, to be challenged either online or in person about your artistic choice bothers me to no end, because I don't see you in cosplay. I don't see you trying or attempting to do this. Like where is your artistic, expression for you to judge someone else? Because you don't do it. You don't do any of that. between that and then the inherent racism or the inherent sexism that comes within these fandoms nowadays. For so many people to grow up playing video games like Samus, or I'm not Samus Aran, but like um Tomb Raider, or
Yeah.
even characters like Samus Aran or whatever. Now all of a sudden,
Uncharted. Yeah.
No, but still, all of a sudden, dudes hate women. Now they hate that women are protagonists in video games.
Zeus.
We can't play an Assassin's Creed game with a woman, but yet that's what you love looking at Samus Aran. You love looking at Chun-Li. Like these were all
Ming-Na Wen. Anybody from '94? I mean, she hasn't aged. She hasn't aged today
at all.
Which is crazy to me, by the way.
So it's like the fandoms have been taken over by this manosphere of bro dudes that are involuntarily celibate, and they just don't. It's just like they are adopting these ideals that don't make any sense for what we grew up in. I'm looking
I
at
get that.
I'm looking at Beast Wars or Black Arachnia,
Oh my
action
gosh.
figure.
I grew up on that TV series, man.
Right. Like we were, how many women I've got so many X-Men of like Jubilee, Storm, Psylocke, like Electro.
I freaking love X-Men.
Right. But yet now that if you see them in an IP, it's a problem. If you see them with their own show, or let's just go back to Endgame. If you see a group of female superheroes grouped together for a single scene, it's woke and it's a problem. You realize everything that you've read as a comic book fan is essentially woke, right? Like everything,
bit of a warped mentality, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. I get it, but then I hate it.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I understand. But hey, if you're a cosplayer out there and you want to cosplay a character, have at it. Enjoy yourself. If you like the fandom, you like the universe that they built or whatever. Listen, one of these days, one of my cosplay goals is to go as a character for Mortal Kombat. Now, granted, I grew up on the MK movie of '95 like everyone else did, and the video game, the OG, and then there was MK2, there was MK3, and so on and so on. Heck, I even played Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and I'm like, dang, this game's gotten a lot more violent than '95. What is going on? They're turning this thing up to 11 with the rated M for mature. I mean, seriously, these fatalities are brutal, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, listen, if I was presented an opportunity to go as Sub-Zero, I'm going to do it because blue is my favorite color, right?
Okay.
And Sub-Zero just happens to have a blue outfit to a degree. So it's like, why can't I wear it? I may not be able to wear the full, part of it because I have to wear these glasses to be able to see. I don't have contacts, unfortunately, but I prefer to wear glasses anyway. That's just who I am. But it's like, why can't I go as Sub-Zero and put the mask up to my face, just not covering my whole head because he has the headgear? Like, I don't see that as a problem. I'm just altering the costume a little bit, but big deal.
But see, you don't even have to have the mask. You can do MK3 Sub-Zero with the scar on the face.
With the yeah, never mind.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I was just saying, you have options. There's nothing. Cosplay is as open as your imagination can be, so long as you're able to at least be immediately identify the character. That's it.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, you're right. MK3's what is it? Sub-Zero had the scars. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I don't have to wear a mask or the headband. I could just go as whatever. Which is fine. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll go as a altered version of Scorpion and just shout, "Get over here!" Because I could pull that off all day long, son. No problem. Or I could go as Johnny Cage because he wears a pair of shades when he's going into a fight, and then he just drops that line. Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole. I mean, and then he's like, "What is it with you guys? We're standing, they're not. What more do you want?" And then Raiden walks in. Oh God, I love that movie so hard.
Stuff.
I love that movie so hard, man. Seriously, I have no regrets. So outside of and well, actually, before I get to that question, let me bring this up here for a moment because I gotta know this. So we got some examples of some of your work here. You got the White Ranger with a bit of an altered look to him, and then you got Sub-Zero on the bottom right hand part of your screen, and then you got an altered version of the White Ranger on the left hand part of your screen. How did the White Ranger altered cosplays come about?
Well, there's an artist named Seven. Seven Art, or it's spelled with as XS. I mean SX. 7. It's just it's an artistic way to say 7. But anyways, he has a complete theme with all of his art of doing characters within the Sengoku like theme. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
that era of like Japan that was
Mhm.
like the bloodiest era ever.
Oh, damn.
And you know, he's got different, like whether it's Spider-Man, Wolverine, Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, like he just does different art within
Mhm.
that theme.
Mhm.
And and I'll be honest with you, there is a level of competition when it comes to the people who are involved in cosplay.
Mhm.
And I don't know why, but because like it's an individual team sport type deal, at least to me. But when people say things that are inherently dismissive of other people's work, I take issue with that. Okay. There are some guys who say that they were the best Power Rangers on the East Coast. And I'm thinking, y'all have to borrow other people's cosplays in order to cosplay as a Power Ranger. So how are you the best cosplayer, that best Power Ranger cosplayers within the East Coast? And then you've got certain individuals like East Coast Power Rangers. You know, you've got like, you know, Shelly's awesome. You've got the New York Avengers. You've got it who also cosplay as some Power Rangers. Like it was just really dismissive and really disrespectful. So myself, Sir Julius cosplay, and D Prime, DX Prime, Rolo, we got together and we were like, well, what can we do to basically crap on these people who say that they are the best Power Rangers? And, you know, and we were just going to come up with, well, first we were going to do the Carlos de Toli version of the Power Rangers. And if you've seen that, that is one of the best iterations of an alien suit, aside for what they tried to do in 2017. And we were like, we could do that, but then we saw the Sengoku Rangers and we were like, oh, this artwork is dope. You know, this is
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that
Very unique.
right, you know. And you know, a 3D artist decided that they were going to just model the helmets. And Julia started printing my helmet, the White Ranger helmet, and then the Green Ranger helmet. And then from there, the buzz that I was starting to create around doing the cosplay in general helped push the artist to to be bullied into doing the rest of the team. And that's how we were able to build out the entire Sengoku team, except for the Blue Ranger.
Right.
In time for Ranger Station.
Dude, that when I saw you guys and saw these outfits roaming around, I'm like, what on earth is this? And like, is this out of a new? Because I felt like I was in a bit of a different time period. I'm like, what is this? Because I've never, because I've seen, we've all, and by the way, for those of you who have access to social media, you see all these different images of different characters from over the years, whether it's a Zordon era or whatever, and then people put their own spin on the character by putting together their own cosplay, right? When you guys walked in as this like army or like just coming out of
the team,
like this huge team of yours is coming into the doors. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but this is interesting stuff. I dig this.
yeah.
How is this even happening right now? Like, I got to talk to this crew. I got to talk to this team, whoever's running it or whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And that's when I approached a couple of you guys at your booth, your table, whatever it was. And I said, look, this is really cool, but like, what is this exactly? How did you do it? And now you're about to tell us a story, but it's amazing stuff, man. I got to tell you.
Thank you. Like, yeah, it's what's good about it, what's awesome about it is that the artist Seven already had like character descriptions for each of the clans, which would be like, you know, the Red Ranger or the Blue Ranger and all that stuff. So, you know, they were already divided up in different types of characters. And we decided to add more lore. As I told you before, I'm a lore junkie, to it, to the point where I started thinking, why don't I just write a series? Why don't I at least write a season, or at least an outline for a season, and let's just see what happens? Because I am involved with Blerd Station. Blerd Station is a forthcoming streaming service that is geared towards the Black nerd that has, like, you know, that kind of focus. But the owner of it is KDS Entertainment, and the owner of KDS Entertainment is a former Hasbro executive. So within the strategic partnerships of Blerd Station and KDS Entertainment, we have another executive that happens to work for Netflix. And if you've been paying attention to everything that's been happening on the business side of things for Power Rangers is no longer owned by Saban or Disney. It's owned by Hasbro. So if and it's distributed by Netflix.
Right.
So in my mind, if I have these 2 to 3 degrees of separation from the people who make decisions over at Netflix and Hasbro, if I can say I have this idea that you all can just take, and let's just see it come to fruition on screen. What if I presented you an idea where you have the Power Rangers mixed with Ninja Scroll mixed with the 5 Deadly Venoms? Think about those 3 properties put together, and then
Jeez.
you have an IP where you have Lord Draken be the Demon Lord Draken,
Oh
who
boy.
is actually pushing for, to come forth from the depths of hell by having people being infected by a certain type of like mist that doesn't turn them anything, but it does weaken the veil between the dead and the living. And it's going to come down, because what's happening is that's the madness that's having all of these different clans battle against one another. And that's why the different colors that come together begrudgingly have to be the heroes that save their entire they have to save humanity. Okay. So when you think about the internal conflict of which clan hates which one the most, because who killed whose brother, who's killed whose sister,
Right.
and all that conflict, and they have to put all that to the side to fight something that's a bigger threat.
Kind of like an Avengers coming together, like putting aside your differences and being like,
Yeah.
no hard feelings, Point Break. You got a mean swing. And just, yeah, dude, there's so many great lines in that movie too. That's one of the better comic movies that's ever been made,
Mhm.
for sure. And man, I don't know why I'm thinking this right now, but I'm thinking that not only could this be a series, but it could also be a comic book series.
Right. But see,
You could
it's
put this, like, you could put this in a comic book and it would sell just as well as a series, because I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but if this thing does go down, like, is this going to be PG-13 right on the cusp of rated R, or is this a hard R
well,
version?
knowing that Power Rangers is no longer
Right.
owned by
Right.
Disney or whatever,
Right.
it
And
it
Saban,
can
yeah.
be it can be anything. It can be PG-13. It can be, immature or whatever. It can
It could
be
go
that.
dark. Yeah.
Right. But it's all about how they choose to go about it. And, do they feel like um the harder take is something that they can't really market that well, because there was that Power slash Rangers IP that came out several years ago that
Yikes.
a lot
Yikes.
of people just did not like,
Ugh.
but then of course this could be an anime that
Ooh.
this does not necessarily have to center around any characters that we know right now. This doesn't even have, because like that's something that's also happening right now in the comics, where there was a current
Right.
team transported back to the Edo era or whatever, and they
Right.
became Samurai Rangers, whatever. No, this could very well be a strictly an Asian thing, where the different regions birth different types of clans for certain reasons. Like the Black Ranger is essentially like a clan of monks, warrior monks. And then
Okay.
you have the Blue Rangers, who are like lancemen, or
Mm.
the farmers or such. And then you got the traditional and honorable samurai warriors that happen to be the Red Rangers. You know what I mean? So like
Ooh,
you
yeah.
have, and then like you have the Yellow Rangers, or the Konichis, the Konichi.
Yeah.
So like they are yellow, like they're assassins, but they have different um disciplines, and
Mhm,
like the ones
mhm.
that we had at our team, or in our, one was like basically sand, the other one was lightning, the other one, it's just there's different ways that you can take it. um and then like, instead of, and if you're a fan of like the Ronin warriors, you got the Gold Ranger, who is sort of like the ancient one,
Yeah. Yeah.
who calls upon, who comes from, like the future to a degree, to call upon these groups to come together. Like there's a lot that can really be done with this, but
Sheesh.
it can very well be done as an anime, something that
Mhm.
they can crank out in like maybe 18 months. And it's an idea. It's an idea. And it could sell, and it doesn't have to be, so derivative, or so close to what we know as the MMPR lore, but it's something that can take it to a new direction, and then have that be something that passed on to something new. Like, and I know for a fact that they want to do an anthology series when it comes to Power Rangers, but it's got to be American produced. That's why, but then now I'm wondering if they're going to continue to make Power Ranger IP anymore, because from what I understand, what's been out there now recently has been canceled. Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, I think, was the last season, and that was
that
almost
was
a
the
year
30th and final season. Yeah, they wrapped it up. Yeah,
right. And I'm like, are they going to do anything else with it? I don't know.
That's another
But
question. Yeah, what does the future hold for the IP and in general, because it's owned by Hasbro and everything? So
right, and they've been doing some weird things when it comes to who they're marketing their toys with now and all that. So I don't know, but it's I'm not supposed to think on that level. I'm just supposed to just type it up, put together the pitch for it,
right.
and use the photos that the reason why we weren't at radio station, we weren't at the table all the time, is because we were outside, getting a lot of photos.
Photo
And
ops, man. Yeah, you were out.
right.
You were pounding the pavement for sure.
Yeah, and then we had to go to the pagoda that's out of Reading, and you saw some of those photos come out, and it really did do something that other Power Ranger teams within the cosplay community haven't been able to do. Like, I think we broke through where people are really starting to look at that version of the Rangers and cosplay that. Not cosplay us, but cosplay that. And
I can dig
that
it.
is, and that's what you want. If you want to like break that veil of like marketing, having people effortlessly market your stuff is what you want.
It's very true. Marketing is very important in whatever industry or business that you're in. And what else is important is this incredible, more phenomenal episode of And I Quote with Demetrius of Hellspawn Cosplay. Do not forget to like and share this with everyone. You see what I did there? Do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you're watching us live on the replay, thank you so much for doing so. And if you have any questions for this gentleman, this incredible mind of creative ability, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. We're happy to hear from you because, yeah. For those of you who don't know, just a little behind the scenes story here to give everyone a little bit more context. Demetrius and I were at the same convention a couple months ago, and it was Go-Go Ranger Station. Ranger Station in general is what it's called. And they held it in a new venue this year instead of what they're normally doing. And it's presented by Lady J Cosplay and her team and the people behind the scenes working on that. And I got to tell you, it was only a one-day event, right? It wasn't like a 3-day, 4-day, like these bigger cons, the bigger expansive ones like New York, San Diego, all this kind of jazz. But I will say, for a one-day con, this thing, I mean, despite, some of the maybe behind the scenes issues they were having with the venue, this thing was lit, man. Like, this thing was phenomenal. It was hopping like pancakes, right, man? You had dozens of people coming in and out of the doors. You had a lot, and I gotta tell you, there were so many MMPR or just PR in general, Power Rangers respectively, cosplayers buried into this room, and I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know what they put in the water this week, but this is working because all these different cosplays are nailing like certain things, or they're just kind of like scratching the creative itch, I guess you would say. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, if these people aren't like teaming up and doing photo ops or doing movies or short stories or series, whatever it is, then you're crazy because there's a lot that can be done here with this group of people. I'm just saying. Yep. But no, the event was great. It was one of my top 10 favorite conventions of all time. And I've been in the convention circuit for over 12 years, brother. That was one of the best conventions ever because I met so many legends and I met so many networking people that I was like, man, if more PR conventions are like this, life would be a lot better.
Let me ask you something. When you drove up to the hotel, did it not take you back to the command center just a little bit?
I mean,
it was like it was on an Oasis kind of deal, and then you looked at it. It's like, if this was a different color, that's the command center from the
I mean, you have a valid point there. Now, granted, I didn't really take too much into the exterior of the building. I was just focused on getting inside and meeting all my peeps. But you're, excuse me, you're not wrong. And it's, man, it was just such a great event. And if you haven't been to Ranger Station, follow them on social media at GoGo Ranger Station on Instagram and Lady J Cosplay for the things and the behind the scenes things she had to deal with. Yeah. She handled it pretty well, man. I mean, she was on the floor constantly asking people, how are you doing? Are you enjoying your time? She's running around in that Green Ranger pajama or just Green Ranger pajama cosplay outfit, whatever it is. And I'm just like, man, she's busting. She's busting. Yeah. She's just hustling, man. And that's what you got to do in any business that you're in, right? You got to hustle. And she was doing it like nobody's business. So my hats are off to Lady J Cosplay and everyone who worked with her to put that event together, because everybody there was so nice, so respectful, so cordial, and you got to hang out with so many different personalities, so many different people. By the way, the 360 photo booth, that was boss. That was like a dream come true. And then when I did the morphing video with that other gentleman who had a booth there and a green screen and all that kind of jazz,
Oh
that
yeah,
made me even more. Yeah, yeah. I forget, what is it? Is it Andrew? Is it Andrew? Andrew Kim?
yeah.
Something like that?
He's from Common Ramen Right Art. Yeah, Common
Is it
Ramen
Common Ramen?
Studios. Common
Okay.
Ramen.
Oh, Common
Yeah,
Ramen. Thank you. So
Common
he was
Ramen.
there and he did that, and I'm like, dude, this is like I waited 30 plus years to do a morphing sequence, like an actual one, and
Mhm.
he made that dream, and it made that inner 6-year-old boy inside of me come back, and I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for 30
That's what
years,
it's all
bro.
about. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So it was a great event. If you haven't seen it yet, you haven't been there, visit them on social media, follow them online, and also follow what is it, Lady J Cosplay on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. There, check her out. Lots of great stuff. And speaking of conventions, because we were kind of mentioning this as we went along, any special memories for you, Demetrius, from being at conventions, whether you're there as a vendor or excuse me, a vendor, cosplayer, or attendee that stand out, other than the ones you've already shared?
Um, so if you don't know anything about my career, my cosplay didn't really like I was just doing cosplay because it was a good hobby. Like it was just something that
Right, I
was
got you.
wholesome and
Yeah.
whatnot. But I did a He-Man cosplay.
Did you?
And yeah,
Wow.
my
By the
He-Man,
power of grace, God, I have the power.
yeah, so my version of He-Man is something that I've had in my mind since I was 4 years old. And it 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 involved, a 36-inch afro, and just instead of just like the briefs, I had a loincloth that was long down to my knees type deal. And like my version of He-Man kind of popped back in 2018 in a way that I didn't expect. It's actually the cosplay that gave me the platform that I have to this day.
Mhm.
So that turned into an interview with Men's Health magazine. That turned into um going to PowerCon when it was still a He-Man and She-Ra specific convention as a featured, He-Man cosplayer. And that continued to manifest into I've got a series of animated PSAs, for children of color that uses that version of He-Man, speaking to the kids. I've got 2 action figures made in my image. I've made it into the cover of Masterverse number 4 of, and like as He Soul. They're like, this is me. So when you talk about a version, a time at a convention that was seminal to me was getting this book graded by the CGC, and it's my signature on it, and it's like it's something that's real, something that's at a comic book stores and all that stuff. But this is my book. This is my 9.8 CGC book. So you know, there's some things that I
Mhm.
never thought would happen, but cosplay did it. Cosplay got me into a movie with well, it got me into like King Vader's movie, a Spawn, because I have a Spawn cosplay that is of the 1997 suit. So when you talk about the only movie version of Spawn, I'm it, besides Michael Jai White. So there's a lot of things that have happened in my life because of cosplay in the last, like, say, what, 7 years since I've been in it. And yeah,
Mm. Goodness
yeah.
gracious, you've achieved a lot of goals for yourself. Does that mean how much is left on your Comic Con bucket list? Anything left
That's
on
the thing.
there?
It wasn't these things. I never put them on my bucket list because I never expected them to happen.
Right. But
you
that's
know,
the best thing about life, right? Sometimes the greatest moments happen when you least expect them.
right? So I've grown from being just a cosplayer to a producer of documentaries, or
Mhm, mhm.
or music videos, or and even like done a little bit of acting. And now I'm pulling this executive card for Blerd Station and KDS Entertainment, where I'm actually able to produce real content that reflects demographics that are underrepresented. And you know i'm 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 able to have I've got videos of me giving my action figure to my son, and as he is 2 years old, looking at it, and I ask him, who is that? He says, it's you. He acknowledges at a very young age what it means to have his dad as an action figure. What I mean? So, and I've been to San Diego Comic Con 3 or 4 times now, and I never thought I would be able to get to it. But I've I've interacted with some of like I met Todd McFarlane and showed him my tattoos. You know, like there's there's so many different things that I've done in the last 7 years that I never imagined would do. So I there's no way I could say I had a bucket list and like these are things I'm gonna do, because things just keep happening that I don't expect.
Next thing you know, you're going to be rubbing elbows with Austin St. John, Walter Jones, Karen, and all of them, and you're all just going to become best friends, and you're going to be hanging out every day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I'm just throwing that out there, man. Putting it in the ether, I guess.
That would be a dope thing to happen. I mean, you know, like Walter and I have hung out a few times, and yeah, that was so yeah.
Yeah, for someone to his age to still be dancing and doing hip hop keto at his age, I'm like, dude, you haven't aged a day since '93, have you?
No,
You know?
the man,
I mean,
the man stays young.
He's gotten his hair cut a little bit here and there, but other than that, the guy just looks the same, basically.
It's the same,
which is crazy to me, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. And you know, all the other Rangers, you know, whether it's Kat, whether it's Nakia, Karen Ashley, who was at Ranger Station, by the way, they're great. Some of the nicest people on the planet. And you know, David Fielding, OG Zordon was in the building that day. Sandy Selner was there, even though she was under the weather at one point. But what a guest list, man. I mean, they pulled out like different, you know what I mean? Like different eras, different seasons, whatever it was. And I'm just like, this is what we want, man. Like give us as many Rangers from different seasons, because the Zordon era is like the OG right there, which I want to meet more than anything. But at the same time, like I'm not opposed to meeting Rangers that came after Zordon, because my favorite season is Time Force. So like,
thank you. That is okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Oh, okay. I think I just rang a bell with Demetrius over here.
See, you think because there's been a meme that's been floating around Facebook. And
really?
It said yes, and it says this is the best era of Power Rangers, and it's from 2003 or 2000. Aha! See, you and I are on the same page. But this is like 2003 to 2009, I believe. So they're including. I hate Wild Force, by the way. Wild Force is the worst one. Besides Wild Force and Mystic Force.
Oh my gosh.
Bother me to no
Power
end.
Rangers do not wear capes.
I swear.
They don't. I mean, when they put the capes on them, I'm like, what the heck is this?
Well, okay. I am sympathetic to the Sentai. So I understand them just being different. But but Wild Force, the whole Wild Access thing, and Leo, he always bothered the fuck out of me. But
my god!
To me, I think the best seasons of Power Rangers, besides MMPR, we're just gonna put that to the side.
Because that's OG.
Yeah, we're gonna do Time Force, SPD, Ninja.
Is it Ninja Storm, or are you thinking of
Ninja Storm? No, I'm thinking Ninja Storm. Yeah.
Okay, it was either going to be Ninja Storm. I thought you were going to say RPM, but you know.
No, but see, the thing is, like, I am partial, because with me being a fan of Marvel, and
I get that.
You know, I enjoy when Rangers have powers outside of the suits.
Oh,
so when you think about it, Time Force, SPD, Ninja Storm, those are the ones that resonated with me the most. You know, because they had disciplines, they had techniques that they didn't need the suits for.
Dino Thunder had abilities,
and Dino Thunder. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of OG, that's when JDF made his anticipated return. Yeah. At one point.
You know, so like that's. And I met him too, you know, before he passed away. And,
yeah, I met him like 4 or 5 times long before he passed away. Very sad about him, by the way. But yeah, R.I.P. JDF. And his daughter was at the Ranger Station. Sky was in the building, and she was nice too.
Yeah,
she was nice. She actually signed 2 of my T-shirts. She's like, "Let me sign your shirt." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, let me sign your shirts. I'll do it for you." I'm like, because I didn't see that coming, to be perfectly honest. Like, she just saw my shirt that I was wearing for that particular day, which is, by the way, it was a Forever Red T-shirt. And it was a Forever Red shirt, and she just like signed it out of the blue, and it didn't even have her dad on it. No offense, but it didn't have any of the iterations of Tommy. And she was just like, "Let me sign for it." And then I bought the 30th anniversary shirt that Karen Ashley had at her booth, respectively, that has all the actors on the suits, like on the suit actor. And I'm like, well, this one has all the actors on it. So let me. And then she's like, "Would you be willing to sign this?" And she says, "Yeah, I'll sign that too." And she signed it, and I'm just like, why can't more celebrities be like that? Just sign stuff without charging you $60.
Oh,
you know? I mean, I know it is a business. Like, I get that, but it's like at the same time, it's like, why can't certain celebrities who already make X amount of dollars outside of what they're doing, like, why can't you just do it out of the kindness of your heart and not charge us like whops of money? You know what I mean?
I get it.
But then again, it depends on who you ask. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, no, that's yeah, Time Force is gold. That's my number one. And I've met all the actors. I've met, well, all but Nadira. I haven't met Kate Sheldon. But I met Rancic, met all 6 core Rangers. And by the way, Dan Southworth is hilarious.
Is he now?
That guy is a hoot, man. Get him his own sitcom. That guy, like when I'm talking to him and we're like talking about the show, and then we're talking about some of the other stuff he's done, because I like listening to him about his projects. Don't get me wrong. He like throws in these jokes every now and then, and I'm just like, dude, you're hilarious. You need your own sitcom. He's that funny. Like, I am not kidding. Like, and the funny thing was, we were sitting at his panel because the Time Force reunion was happening at Lexington Comic Con in Lexington, Kentucky. And someone asked, what is the best piece of advice you can give someone who's wanted to get into acting or the profession or whatever? And Dan Southworth says, lean in for that right hook. Don't spit into the wind. And you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? It just came off kind of a bit of a funny thing. And then they said, what's your favorite motivational quote? And then Kevin Kleinberg looked at him and said, his favorite quote is, I am me. Like, yeah, the 6 of them play off each other really well. When they're together in the same room, Demetrius, like, you're just going to laugh your head off.
So how much time do they really spend with each other after the season's over? Is a good question.
That's well, it depends on the Ranger. First of all, it depends on the season. And second of all, it depends on how close the actors or actresses may have been, or maybe were not very close when they were filming. But the Time Force cast, they basically stayed in touch when the season was over. Like, they never really stayed out of touch. They exchanged, as far as I know, I could be wrong about this, but as far as I know, Jason Font, Aaron Cahill, and all them, they exchanged like phone numbers. They made sure they called each other every couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever, just to say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And they're so close. Like, they're family. They're literally family. So anytime something goes on, they're like, hey, do you need anything? Can I help you? And that's how great of a community that, to a certain extent anyway, the fandom of Power Rangers can be. If a cast is super close, that's going to like ooze off of them, and the fans are going to see that, and then they're going to be like, you know what? These people over here, they're cool. I'll hang out with them. Maybe not so much this cast over here, but this cast over there is fantastic. But yeah, Time Force are like, they're like this, man. Seriously. Good. I hung out with all 6 of them during the weekend at their booths, and, you know, doing sitting at their panels, and you can just tell that they love each other. They're like brothers and sisters.
So my plan, because the way that I rewatch certain stuff, I have to be like in that mood. Like now, I'm in a Gundam thing. Like, I never saw the original Mobile Suit Gundam, and like,
okay,
in order for me to, let's say, in order for, you know how you go to therapy and like your therapist asks you, so what are you doing for, like, you know, your mental health? What are you doing for your self-care? And you know, you don't really have an answer. And so you could say, oh, I'm playing video games, or I'm playing, you know, because right now I'm still in the middle of like my second playthrough of Wukong, but you know, I'm also building this Predator cosplay, you know, this thing that's actually taking hours and like meticulous work between the 3D printer and the puff painting and all that stuff. But before I started doing all of that, I was putting together models, like, you know, and I want to get into Gunpla so much because I see things that I think look really, really cool. But when it comes to Gundam, which is those particular models, I don't know anything about those suits except for G Gundam, Wing Gundam Wing, and now Iron-Blooded Orphans. And I see other things like, you know, the Unicorn Gundam, and I see, you know, so many other things that I just don't know about. I can't buy something if I'm not like well versed in that lore. So I decided, well, let me go all the way back and let me start watching Mobile Suit Gundam from episode 1 from like 1978. And while I'm doing this, I keep having this thing. I want to go back and I want to rewatch all the Power Ranger stuff too. And I just can't find the time.
There's only so many hours in the day. But the good news is most of those seasons are available to stream for free with ads on the Power Rangers official YouTube channel. So, it is. I'm dead serious. Like, you can literally find the OG Zordon era to the stuff that came after with Time Force, Wild Force, some of the other seasons that came after that, Ninja Storm, like all that stuff is on YouTube for free.
Okay. It's
So
also
you can,
I mean, 'cause I've got Netflix 'cause they're
well,
on
yeah,
Netflix as well,
yeah,
but I
some
didn't
of
know
it's
that
on.
they
Yes,
yeah,
some they've taken a lot of it off Netflix. Which, by the way, shame on you people.
really?
But well, I mean, from what I was told, they took a lot of the seasons off only because they kept OMPR seasons 1 through 3. Then they kept some of the later seasons, like Beast Morphers and whatever else. But anything in between, I heard that Netflix took away. Now, if they put them back, fantastic, because that's what you need. You want all the fans from all the generations of Power Rangers to go back and watch that shiznit. But if you took away most of it, then what's the point? But the good news is there's a Power Rangers official YouTube channel, like an official that has all this that has a majority of the seasons for you to stream, and they literally have their own playlist for each season. So I can
Nice.
go back and watch Wild Force if I want to. I can go back and watch Time Force, Lightspeed Rescue. What was the other one? Lost Galaxy, right? So you can watch all that stuff for free on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
Just go back on YouTube, man. It's there. Trust me.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, I would say. I was thinking like Lost Galaxy. Did I like Lost? Like that. Leo was cool. His battleizer was cool. That's also something else that people don't take into consideration is how cool is the battleizer for that season. And then like there's something that I saw before where it's only happened like maybe 2 or 3 times in all of Power Ranger history where you had like the battle damaged helmet where the visor cracked.
Yeah.
It's only happened like 3 times in the entire series. So
yeah, it happened in Time Force.
right. And but I'm just saying like certain things you look for to make an iconic season for Power Rangers. And sometimes you just when you don't get that one element, then people don't remember it.
That's a fair point. You know what else is a fair point is how awesome-tacular this episode of And I Quote has been thus far with Hellspawn Cosplay, also known as Demetrius. Do not forget to like and share this. And if you're watching this live on the replay, thank you so much for doing so. If you have any questions for this awesome-tacular gentleman, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. Would that be, gosh, man, with that being said, these questions here are brought to you by our good friends at Poddex. So Poddex is curious, what is something weird that you do before bedtime that you're willing to share? Or if you want to skip it, you can always go on to the next question.
I don't know. Like I got a sweet tooth, so I find myself fighting to get like that one bowl of cereal. Whether it's Crunch Berries or Cocoa Puffs or something. I don't know. It's that one thing that I know that I couldn't do as a kid that I know I can do as an adult because it's my house. And and like what's in my fridge, I can eat what's in my fridge type deal. So and it's not every night, but it's that one thing that I treat myself to is that.
Gotcha.
And that and this sounds so wholesome, but I enjoy a nice cup of cranberry juice.
There you go. Hey, listen, you do you, man. I mean, when it comes to bowls of cereal, I mean, who remembers those color changing bowls or color changing spoons that we got in the bottom of the box of Lucky Charms one time?
Yeah.
You remember that stuff from back then? Because I do.
Between that and the type of toys we got at McDonald's for the Happy Meals, like
man,
when we were growing up, we had the better stuff than what these kids now. Like I look at the Happy Meal toy that my son gets now. He's getting like a keychain of a croc. Like why are you getting that? Like we used to get like Power Ranger toys from the movie when it came released.
We got Batman toys.
Yeah, we got Team T. Oh no, that was Burger King. But still we got whole VHS tapes from Burger King when we got the kids meals.
Oh yeah.
That between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and X-Men, we got those episodes. And it's like, what are you getting now? You're getting keychains.
It's a little bit sad, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are keeping up with score at home. But yeah, does anybody remember Batman Forever and those glasses that McDonald's had? Woo! Remember the glasses had the murals on them and stuff? You remember that stuff?
Yeah, and like they actually had like blown glass. Like had they were molded.
Yeah, they were legit, man.
See, they must have been making so much money for them to be doing that.
I remember those glasses from '95's Batman Forever, which, by the way, that's another film that turns 30 next year, which is insane. Yeah, Batman. By the way, fun fact for you. And we're also going to be doing this on the new season of Movie Watch Along here on And I Quote channel. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get notified when those videos go live. We're doing one for Batman Forever turns 30, and Batman Begins, believe it or not, turns 15.
2005. Yeah. Okay. See, when I'm talking to my friends about some of the things that we did when we like got out of college or something. Like it was around 2004 to the 2007 era, and like it's just hard to believe
Or 20, excuse me.
that was like no, that was 13, 14, 15 years ago, and
Mm.
we aged quickly, but we didn't lose ourselves to becoming adults,
Yeah, no,
like
what I meant was Batman Begins turns 20, not 15. Because it came out in 2005. 2005 plus 20 is 25. So yeah.
yeah.
So never mind. Got the numbers slightly wrong. Sorry about that case. But yeah, but yeah, 20 years for Batman Begins. Good Lord. Time
Wow.
flies, man.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like, that turns 20. Batman Forever turns 30 next year. You got TMNT turning 35. You get the OG Tremors turning 35.
Do you
Yeah.
realize that when a car turns 20 years old, it can be classified as an antique?
Really?
Yes, you can get antique tags for 20-year-old vehicles.
Wow.
So that means that those Dodge Chargers that came out in 2005,
Mm-hmm.
that was like the first year I believe that they were released. Those are
I
now
believe.
antiques.
Those are
Yeah.
antiques. Wow. Okay, that makes me feel quite young. With that being said, all kidding aside, what do you or excuse me, let me rephrase this. What do you consider is the most important piece of furniture within a house?
The most important
Piece of furniture within a house, yeah.
Uh, um,
Most important piece of furniture.
I would have to say it has to be either a good couch or a really
Mhm.
good bed.
Okay.
Because it either hey, listen, if you're starting out and you just have like a 1-bedroom apartment or something or another, either one can be interchangeable.
That's
If you
true.
gotta and you need to either entertain your guests or for you to get a good night's sleep, you need a good couch or you need a good bed. A nice firm something
Yeah.
that you're not going to
Mhm.
sink into the
Oh,
floor.
well, yeah. I would venture to say that's true. Uh, Fair point, by the way. Fair point. Many people would read something known as electronic books, ebooks. Do
Mhm.
you think that takes away from the experience?
Uh no,
No?
I don't
Okay.
think so. Because I mean, no, no. The biggest thing about books and having something tactile to hold on to is that you're still holding on to something to look at it.
Mhm.
Whether it's a tablet or a physical book. I can understand one's perspective where they're saying that, in order to appreciate things, you need to be able to turn the page and have them that memorable experience. Well, that's a very subjective thing that you're looking at and that you're judging. So if you have one way of doing things, cool, that's you. That's specific unto you. You can't apply that to everyone else. Reading is reading.
Mhm.
How just like I'm supposed to be reading War and Peace as opposed to a graphic novel. Does that make me any more or less than as an adult? Like I don't get it. Like that's silly to really pigeonhole people into one thing.
Mm. Understood. 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 Do you have an area of your life that you are never satisfied with?
Yeah, you know um never satisfied uh with what I want to do professionally.
Mhm.
I haven't now that I have a clear goal as to what I want to do and what can truly be a passion of mine, whether it's like say producing, content for children, or just content that I would like to see my kid watch. I'm not going to be satisfied until I see that happen. As far as my ability to be an effective parent and one that is not only understanding but also finding ways to create more paths for my kid, or soon, hopefully soon at some point, more kids. Like I don't think that I can ever truly be satisfied with being a father until I see them grow to a point where they are functioning productive human beings to the society that we live in.
There you go. That's one of those moments where we can say mic drop. Fa-ching. Just throwing that out there. That's not my best sound impression. I'm sorry. Name something on your to-do list that never gets done.
Watch more Power Ranger stuff.
I mean, you said it yourself. We were talking about it earlier, and you're like, dude, how am I going to watch all these shows? I'm like, well,
I
there is something
swear.
called YouTube that has a lot of the seasons on the YouTube channel now, so you can go back and stream
Yeah.
that whenever you want, man.
So this is the thing. Like I spend a lot of time driving because during the day I'm an electrician, as opposed to
You're an electrician, so you got a bit of
right.
storm in you. Mystic
Yeah.
of the elements. Yeah, I'm just
So
sorry. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
but yeah, like I spend and like most of the time my hour long commute to work, is spent watching videos, whether it's the time gets in, and then when I'm
Right.
on my way home, it turns into an hour and a half because of traffic. Or if I'm picking up my son lives about 70 miles from me. So anytime I see him, pick him up, whatever, that could be a 2 to 2.5 hour long, ride. Thing is, there's so much other content that I'm consuming, whether it's political content, whether it's, entertainment, whether TikTok or trying to edit videos, or where I'm trying to organize this this photo shoot, or trying to email these people. There's a lot of different things that I'm doing that takes me away from trying to do the one things that the one or two things that I know I would truly enjoy, which is to just have the show that I'm trying to watch on. Like I was on I go to the gym. I'm on the treadmill for 25-30 minutes, and it's my perfect opportunity to watch Bleach, perfect opportunity to watch Dragon Ball Daima. It's perfect opportunity to watch like Dan, right? And I get messages, and then I get emails, and I'm spending the time typing, still on the treadmill, doing what I gotta do, but then I'm not watching what I want to watch because I got other stuff to take care of.
That's tough stuff, man. There is a thing on your phone if you're able to access it called Do Not Disturb. You can turn off all notifications, just focus on Bleach.
But see, that's the thing. Like you
Yeah.
put something off for 10 to 15 minutes, and then you end up making more work for yourself
Okay, fair
after
enough.
that.
Okay. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, if you want to take a break from the world, all you gotta do is turn on Do Not
I
Disturb, and then
wish
your
I
phone.
could sometimes. I really do. But
Uh,
my core personality trait is like there are two types of people in the world.
mhm,
You got those who cook, then do the dishes,
mhm.
and then you have those who cook and clean while they're cooking. I wash the dishes as I'm cooking, so that I can just eat and sit down and be done with it all.
Oh, I see what you mean. I
Yeah.
got you. Because for a minute there, I thought you were gonna bring up the old catchphrase from our good friend Clint Eastwood. In this world, there are two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig. Sorry, that's a Western quote with Eastwood. I don't know if you're familiar with the Dollars trilogy. Fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You ever see those?
I have not seen them in their entirety. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I'm more of a Tombstone guy,
okay.
and
I'm your Huckleberry.
yeah,
I got
I'm. If I was to like say those, like as far as like westerns, because like my parents are old enough to still have Gunsmoke on right now. You know what I mean?
Jeez, man, that's old school right there, guys.
Right. So like I can appreciate it. It just wasn't my thing,
Okay.
But I say if I was to watch any Western or go back to any Western, it would be like Tombstone or
The Quick and the Dead.
maybe.
I mean, it is
But then
Sam
like
Raimi. So
there's a few that have been released recently that I enjoy, but that's the
Magnificent
person
Seven with Denzel.
that was cool. But when you see other iterations, it kind of takes away from it a little bit. I don't know. There's
I mean, I liked it, but
yeah. Let's see. And this thing, like, I'm not the biggest Western fan
that's
because
okay.
it is a little slow for me.
Yeah, it is.
But like the types of movies that I immediately go back to, if I was to like say, hey, I need this one watch that nobody else really truly loved like I did, it'd be Lucky Number 11.
Josh Hartnett and
And
Lucy Liu. Yeah,
yeah, that one, and Smoking Aces.
I haven't seen that one, so I can't say.
That's with Ryan.
Is it Gosling? Or is
No,
it
not Ryan Gosling. Deadpool.
Oh, you mean Ryan Reynolds? Ryan
Right,
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds and Comet and like a whole host of like Alicia Keys was in that one, I
Oh,
believe.
Alicia Keys is dropping in there. Good
Yeah,
lord.
well, yeah, it was all assassins. Smoking Aces was they were all trying to kill one specific person, and
Wow.
yeah, that was a bloody one. That
Okay.
was let's say
Was that
that's
the
huh?
was that the director? What's his? Oh gosh, what's his name? Guy Ritchie. Was it Guy Ritchie who made that?
No, it wasn't. I don't believe Guy Ritchie did
It wasn't Guy Ritchie. Sorry, I was thinking
either.
it's maybe I'm thinking of a different filmmaker. Because I know it wasn't David Fincher.
Smoking
Was it
Aces.
Fincher? I thought it was Guy Ritchie, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Came out in 2006,
Yeah. Who's the director of
and
that though? Do you remember who the
Joe
that-
Carnahan.
Oh, never mind. Oh, well, Joe Carnahan directed The Gray with Liam Neeson, which is a survival movie. That was good.
Yeah. So this is Ryan Reynolds, Ray Liotta, Jeremy Piven, Ben Affleck, Chris Pine, Andy Garcia.
Oh, you had everybody in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you that's a movie you need to look up.
All right, I will,
Smoking Aces.
man. I will. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the weird thing about me. Well, not weird. It's just personal preference. I'm not a Ryan Reynolds fan.
Okay.
I don't like because all I see when I look at Ryan is not Ryan Reynolds. All I see is Deadpool. That's all I see. I don't see a human. I don't see an actor. All I see is Deadpool. Every single time his name comes up, every time his commercials pop up on my feed, all I see is Deadpool being Deadpool. I don't see Ryan Reynolds being married to Blake Lively, having 2 or 3 kids, whatever he's got in there. I'm like, dude, you're nothing to me. You're Deadpool.
See,
that's it.
See, that's the thing. Like, he was Van Wilder was Deadpool,
which I'm familiar
before-
with, by the way. I've seen parts of it.
Van Wilder and Waiting was one of those. It's one of those movies because I used to be a server at Red Lobster, so I immediately resonated with Waiting. You know, because that's kind of how it is. But having Ryan be himself, which is that, and Deadpool is just like cranked up to like level 11
or whatever,
14, something like that. That kind of makes it all the more attractive, at least to me, because you if you grew up watching wrestling, you know that those
wrestling.
people who those people who are playing those characters are just turning their personalities up to a certain level, and it just works. It works for me, but
it works for some people. It does. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool and everyone who worked on those movies, they have their fans. Trust me. I've seen them at conventions. I've seen people talking about them, discussing them on podcasts. Believe me when I tell you. Listen, this isn't necessarily a slight against the Deadpool community, but it's just like, it's not my thing. It is not my cup of tea. I don't really care for it. But if that's you, then you go ahead and live it. You go ahead and sit in that corner. I'm going to be over here in the other, with me in one corner and the other corner. The man who's brought real terror to Gotham City, Batman. Can you hear me? Just the two of us, mano y mano. I have taken off my makeup. Let's see if you can take off yours. Sorry, I love 89's Batman, and I've watched it 30 billion times, as I have so already. And it turned 35 earlier this year. Happy 35th anniversary to Tim Burton's Batman. Love that movie to pieces, and I don't care what anybody says. So I love it anyway. And there's a lot of people who love it too. And the Batmobile is boss. I want that car in my garage. I want that car. So I want the Batmobile now. Like that's
they had, like I said, some of the marketing for that was like, I remember one commercial for McDonald's where the question was, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? And no one really got that.
Yeah.
And until they saw the movie, you're just like, oh, then that's people were just running them around just saying that all the time.
It's a good line, but creepy at the same time. You got to keep that in mind because it was the Joker, after all, who dropped that thing in the movie. Well, Jack Napier / Joker, but both people are the same because it's Jack Nicholson. You're insane. I thought it was a Pisces. Anyway, what isn't insane? What isn't insane is how great of an episode this has been of Van I Quote. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Demetrius / Hellspawn _ cosplay for being our guest on this episode of Van I Quote. Dude, this was a boss episode. This was fun. This was great. And your collection is beyond ridiculous. It's fantastic. It gives George Bueller and some of our other friends in the community a run for their money. Let's be perfectly honest. Like, look at this MTV Cribs tour. Look at this thing. You see all this stuff? 'Cause I got you on the big screen right now on our set. So people are seeing this. And I'm like, look at this, guys. This is what collecting is like for like the big time collector. That is a hobby kind of thing. You understand what I'm saying? This is what people do.
Zoom in.
It's okay, man. Listen, I'm just saying, like, it's a freaking museum in there. Excuse me. And you got something from a lot of different lines of toys. You got something from a lot of different lines of characters in the comics and whatnot. So you know what they say, right? More power to you.
Yeah. So like there's some things like,
I mean, look at this
the
thing.
Turbo Man from Jingle All the Way.
Oh, I'm talking about the Turbo Man doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
Booster? Who wants Booster? Sorry. I grew up watching Jingle All the Way like everybody else did. So what are you going to do? It happens to the best of us, folks. I got to tell you, it happens to the best of us. I kid you not. But yeah, this is a boss set that Demetrius has on in his facility.
That one right
there. It is. I see it. I see it. It's killer. It's killer.
With the Xena on top of it, and then
yeah. It's boss. Look at this, guys. You seeing this? I hope you who are watching or listening to this at home, you get a chance to look back at this replay, because I'm telling you, this is something that Indiana Jones would say. This belongs in a museum. And I'm an Indiana Jones cosplayer, so that should go with what I'm doing with my character, or doing with the character, I should say, not myself. But anyway,
yeah, I mean, it was just there's stuff back there that people like the comic, like Batman gets his back broken for the first time.
Oh yeah, I remember that cover. Yeah,
yeah. There's the death of Robin. The killing joke, and you remember there was a TV series called Comic Book Men that had Kevin Smith's
and Ming Chen. Yeah,
right. Yeah, so some of these books came from that store.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, because they had that, like the handwriting came from, like I kept just for that.
Yeah.
Like there's the first Rogue from that King Size of Annual Avengers. Yeah,
man,
you got just Gambit #1 and all that stuff here.
Gambit. Where to go, mon ami? Sorry, one of these days I hope to cosplay as Gambit, so we'll see how that goes. That's going to be a long work in progress, because there's certain elements of the costume first of all I gotta find the outfit, then I gotta figure out, okay, what pieces am I gonna wear, what pieces do I feel comfortable wearing, and blah 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 blah. Maybe I'll do like an altered version of it. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, my boy Sir Julius Cosplay actually put together the armor.
Okay.
That chest piece.
Yeah, the chest piece. Yeah.
He has it on his Etsy store.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It looks. I'll send you the link for it. Just
send me the links for everything you got, man. For sure. But with that being said, once again, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Demetrius for being our guest. Now, if someone wants to know more about you or your cosplays or some of the appearances, or maybe some of the things you're going to be working on here in the future, where can they follow you on social media, my good friend?
Well, my go-to is Instagram, Hellspawn_cosplay. Any reels that I put together, now I'm starting to just put them like on the real page, as opposed to just both the main page and the real page. So there's a lot more, work in progress videos that I'm doing on this Predator, that I'm putting up there now. And also Hellspawn on TikTok we'll see if TikTok even lasts. Yeah, I heard that it goes away in January, so that's the thing. But yeah, those are like the main platforms. And then as far as anything Blerd Station related, that's Blerds.station, or even my organization of Blerd And Powerful, that's all on Instagram as well. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Hopefully we can get like a schedule out as to what I'm doing next year. I know for sure that this Predator will be done at BlerdCon. I'm not sure if I'm going to Katsu, because I don't really see a need to at this point. MagFest, not really sure if I need to go. But every year now is kind of a point for me to have to go to San Diego. Yeah, and also the team, we're plotting on going to Ranger Stop down in Atlanta, because I believe
Hotlanta, yeah.
I think this is the last year that they're going to do it.
Yep, June. I want to say June 13th to the 15th, 2025.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I need to go ahead and get our not only our tickets but our tables reserved, because I know that I need to stop BSing on that, because there's other stuff that I'm been working on, but that needs to be done.
Well, you know what that means, right? This is going to be more phenomenal with you guys, for sure. So it's coming. Yep. So stay tuned, man. Listen, it was great having you here. I'm going to talk to you again here momentarily. Thank you so much for being here with us, kind sir. My name is Ryan of Van Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Follow Demetrius and myself, Links for our social medias are located in the description down below, so check those out. Follow Demetrius at _cosplay on Instagram. He's got a lot of great things cooking, man. If you smell what those Power Rangers over there are cooking, it's coming. It's coming, man. By the way, we're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we're going through a great big live stream celebration that will include returning favorite surprises and special giveaways that you, our incredible viewers / subscribers, are going to be eligible to win. Also, we have merch that's on sale right now in our Redbubble store. We have shirts, we have hoodies. The temperatures are changing, by the way. So we got hoodies, we got water bottles. We also got stickers that you can attach to your water bottles or your notebooks for school, or if you're going into work, something like that. We got all kinds of great things available right now. It's on sale. So check them out. Links are in our social media bios and in the description below. And once again, thank you so much to Demetrius for being our guest on this episode of And I Quote. It's been a blast. It's been more phenomenal in more ways than one. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when our videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world in different fields. Take a look.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.